Hello everyone, it's Kinilov, and this is the series The Last Frontier. Ambush. Don't move. A convoy arrives at the plane, transporting dangerous prisoners. They are all moved onto the aircraft. But one of them, Havelock, is special. He's wearing extra chains and a mask with goggles, so no one can recognize who's being transported. 2 personal guards are assigned to him. A bit later, Havelock secretly removes one of his teeth. Inside it, there's a hidden lockpick. He calmly starts unlocking his restraints when suddenly an explosion occurs. The engine fails. The pilots immediately call for an emergency landing, while the number of prisoners keeps decreasing one by one. One of them steals the guard's keys, but he gets sucked out through a hole in the fuselage. Before that, Havelock manages to grab the keys. The guards notice he's free and try to capture him, but he easily fights off several of them at once. The rear flaps fail, and everyone is thrown up to the ceiling. Holding onto a seat, Havelock crawls toward the cockpit of the King, but it's too late. The plane crashes in a remote, snowy area. Thanks to the snow, the landing is somewhat soft, and all surviving prisoners escape. Meanwhile, Frank, a U.S. Marshal in Alaska, lives a peaceful life with his wife, Sarah, and their son, Luke. Frank tells Sarah that his request to buy the house of their dreams has been approved. He plans to retire soon and live a calm, safe life. At work, Jane informs Frank that firefighters reported smoke in the mountains. They don't know where it came from, and they're asking the police to check it out by helicopter. Frank promises to investigate. The marshals quickly locate the crashed plane. They inspect it, but there's no one left, only broken chains. Frank immediately realizes it was transporting prisoners. Nearby, they find a wounded officer, still alive. He warns them. It's an ambush. Suddenly, a dozen escaped convicts emerge from the forest and attack the marshals. Frank fights bravely, but another prisoner slashes Donnie with a knife, badly injuring him. Frank draws his pistol and swiftly eliminates the threat. The marshals drag Donnie back to the helicopter. Frank covers them, firing in all directions. But a huge man tackles him to the ground. Luckily, another survivor helps Frank, though due to his poor eyesight, he can't see who Frank really is. Frank helps him up, and they climb into the helicopter. As the pilot Fred takes off, one of the prisoners grabs onto the landing gear, forcing Frank to demonstrate the strength of his boot. At the same time, Bradford receives news that their transport plane has crashed. She fears they've been compromised and wants to bring in Schofield, because she's the one who created Havelock. Later, Bradford tells Schofield that they captured Havelock in Russia and were secretly transferring him to Alaska. But someone found out. Since the CIA has no jurisdiction in that state, Schofield must not tell the marshals too much. She calls Frank, requesting to secure the perimeter. That makes him laugh. There is no perimeter in Alaska. The rescued officer tells Frank what happened, describing the most dangerous prisoner, Havelock. He always knew. Once his feet touched the ground, he'd be free. The police set up a search camp and gather all possible information. At least 18 prisoners are missing. When Frank meets Schofield in person, he asks why the CIA was secretly transporting prisoners without the marshals' knowledge. She dodges the question. Then Frank mentions Havelock's name, which shocks Schofield. If she wants his cooperation, she'll have to share information. So she explains. 3 years ago, rumors spread about a mole who wanted to bring down the U.S. government from within. But the truth is, this traitor wasn't real. He was created by the CIA as part of a secret operation. These traitors were bait for enemy agents. One of them was Havelock. To revive this program, they had to make the mole look truly dangerous. For 2 years, Havelock played his role perfectly. Until a month ago, when he switched sides, the CIA captured him and planned to bring him back to the States. But now, a 9,000-kilometer escape is only the beginning. Frank believes Havelock is getting outside help. Soon, they hear something happened at a weather station, 30 kilometers from the crash site. Frank doubts a fugitive could make it that far, but Schofield insists it might not even be Havelock. When the police arrive, they do find Havelock, who ambushes them from cover. Schofield orders to eliminate him, but Frank offers to talk and get him to surrender. Instead, Schofield releases an attack dog that takes him down. After a closer look, she realizes it's not Havelock. Back at base, she checks the files more carefully and discovers the rescued officer was never an officer. Havelock had been with them all along. He always knew. Once his feet touched the ground, he'd be free. Frank tries to warn Sarah, but Havelock moves on to the next stage of his plan. When the marshals arrive at the hospital, both Havelock and Sarah are gone. Frank blames Schofield. If they had just shown him Havelock's photo, he would have recognized him. Now, because of their secrets, his wife is missing. From this point on, they're no longer partners. Suddenly, Havelock's voice comes through police radios. He says Sarah is still alive, and that means Frank owes him. He asks for a favor, become his contact. Together, they'll change the world. The next day, Frank's family encounters one of the escaped prisoners, Sickler. He smashes his prosthetic arm, revealing hidden cash, and offers to pay them if they take him to the police. As for Havelock, he managed to steal a top-secret document containing data on all past and future CIA targets. If he leaks it, it'll cause a global catastrophe. Soon, a special task force arrives from Seattle, led by Caval, to investigate why Sickler surrendered without resistance. Meanwhile, Havelock doesn't waste time. He knows Frank won't come home tonight, so he hides there instead. He even records a message from Sarah, asking Frank to find the prisoner from Seat 12 and exchange him for her. That prisoner was Sickler. In the past, Sickler worked for every criminal organization imaginable, and robbed them too, which cost him his hands. Frank wants to know how he knows Havelock, but Sickler isn't interested in cooperating. He has other plans, and by sunset, he'll be she. Meanwhile, Sarah is tired of being held hostage. She attacks Havelock and even steals his gun, but he calmly disarms her and knocks her out. Later, Frank brings a man disguised as Sickler to the exchange point, but it's a trap. Havelock isn't there. He intercepted the vehicle carrying the plane's black box and left a gift for Frank inside, Sarah's keys. The next day, police capture one more fugitive, but a group is still hiding in the forest. They encounter Havelock, who pretends to be a lost tourist, and take him hostage, along with a real tourist group nearby. At the same time, police locate Sarah's hideout and rescue her. When the prisoners realize the man they captured was the one from the crashed plane, Havelock attacks and disarms them all. To stay alive, their leader guy offers him to take command. Havelock contacts Frank by radio, saying he released Sarah as promised. And now, he has a new demand: Schofield's CIA account password. If she refuses, he'll kill the hostages. To prove he's serious, he shoots one of the prisoners. Police trace the signal, and Frank personally heads to the scene. Havelock taunts him, asking if Sarah knows about his little secret in the basement. He claims he can help him. The words clearly shake Frank. Havelock adds that this secret is his now, and it's well hidden. While they talk, Schofield hooks a car to a helicopter, which lifts it easily into the air. The prisoners try to run, but they're quickly caught. The helicopter drops the car at the target zone, where an armed team is waiting. But Havelock isn't afraid. He jumps out, sending the car plunging into a canyon, breaks the window, and escapes. And that's where part 1 ends. If you want to know who caused the plane crash and how the story ends, write it in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the continuation. We'll be back very soon. See you next time.